NCRP Productions presents Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands, Episode 36. Welcome back to Unhallowed Metropolis, Secrets in the Sands. This is Barry, your Game Master. Let's go around, and then we'll start in.
Hi, I'm Jill, and I'm playing Raya the Mourner.
Hi, this is Matt, and I'm playing Ayden.
Hello, this is Michael. I'm playing Dr. Everett Wolf, the doctor specializing in alchemy and chemistry.
Hello everyone, my name is Ty. I'm running Ray Callahan, our Pugilist.
Hi, it's Sequoia, and I'm running Frankie the Undertaker.
Hey everybody, it's Pedro. I'm running Dr. Desmond Wright, the medical doctor.
So, last week, as we were getting ready to leave, the group has decided we are going to finally take action and move on to the next steps. You guys have realized that you have 21 days if the Zeppelin makes it back in the time that you had set before you need to be back. So you got the group together, and there was a lot of pushback as far as leaving. But finally, through pushing from Cal, pushing from Frankie, the group has decided we are going to leave. You are leaving early morning on the same day where Wolf has come out of his stupor, or out of his fight, or with himself, or whatever way you want to look at it. Wolf seems to be different and introspective, but seems to be up and running at this point.
Yeah, running is a strong word, but
Right.
That's another story.
Conditionally, he is not healing the way he expects to. Outwardly, the throat should be healing a wound level every day. He has stopped healing. He has also stopped bleeding for cuts. So, a lot of strangeness going on there. Last game, he had a discussion.
But I still have blood, apparently.
You do still have blood in there once you go digging for it.
Yeah.
Dr. Wright and Dr. Wolf had a discussion on why Dr. Wolf did what he did. That was a revelation to Dr. Wright, that he had infected himself. I don't remember that you specifically said with the throat serum, nor did you specifically identify that you had found the actual true serum.
It was to Frankie I did.
Yes,
to
to Frankie, but not to Dr. Wright.
Not to Dr. Wright.
But to Dr. Wright, it was enough inference that Dr. Wright was able to figure out that you had infected yourself with this.
Hmm.
Beyond that, you guys are ready to leave. With Ayden's talk with the group and leadership, you guys have two of the Bedouins attending with you, Bas and Ra. You know that Bas has a female counterpart here at the cistern, so he is leaving her behind at Nod's request. Nod, as you guys remember, has started to take over a little bit more of the leadership role, not taking it from Akbar, just stepping into that role, which for a lot of you is kind of a surprise. It didn't look like he would potentially ever do that, whether Akbar was around or not.
Right.
So, Bas and Ra get the six of you together. In addition, we have Billings and Mei Ling, Cal, and Marud. So it's a group of 12 of you heading back. You are carrying with you the supplies that you walked out with, which are pretty light. Dr. Wright, I believe it's your cane and your valise.
Yes.
Dr. Wolf, I believe it is your valise.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, I don't believe anyone's really carrying much. We might have a pack or two amongst the group, but we are walking back through the desert. We are walking in the morning as we head towards noon, and one of the concerns Cal had was if we don't leave quickly, we are going to be walking in the heat of day. It would be better if we don't leave within the next few hours to leave at night. You're also carrying the Billings, a basically trainer camel chair or camel saddle.
Mm-hmm.
So the group is going to be passing that around amongst you. What I'm going to ask everybody to do for me is to make a vitality roll for the walk back.
I won't carry that.
I'm not asking about whether or not you're carrying the Billings. I'm asking about
Oh no, the thing.
the Billings.
Yeah. Are they on? Do we don't have? Do we have camels?
You do not have
Yeah,
camels.
that's right.
You're carrying this heavy saddle.
No, I'm saying not on.
I understood
Oh,
what you
okay.
said.
Probably stop it. Because I would probably just carry it myself or carry it with one.
You will be passing it around. It will get too hot and too tiresome, but you will have Cal who will help.
Mm-hmm.
You will have Marud who will definitely help. I suspect Ray will help. And it's not so out of line that Raya or Frankie could conceivably carry it.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely.
You have Wolf not in a condition to do it, and you have Dr. Wright being Dr. Wright.
Well, if they do try to give him the saddle, I rolled a 7, so I'll describe how that goes for that. You'll It'll be to
So
play.
vitality rolls around the room.
15.
Yes.
14.
Yes.
23.
Okay.
7.
As we said, 7
Carry that saddle good.
20.
And 18.
and 18. So you guys will make it for the first hour and a half. We refilled water skins in the cistern on the way out. Once you get out of the box canyon, up the hillside, and onto the main area, you no longer have the canyon walls as any kind of a heat protection. So you guys are traipsing across the straight desert at this point. If you remember when you went from Cairo to the Bedouins, you were able to find small crevices that you were able to go into. Some even had small pools of standing water. In this direction, the distance you're walking, there is none of that. So the heat bears down. Around the second hour, Dr. Wolf appears to not be holding up as well.
As a matter of fact, it's more than just that. It's like he's been lagging behind quite a bit during this thing. And everyone's more focused on whatever it is that's all moving forward and everything
One
like
foot
that.
in front of the other, I assume, for everyone.
There's actually a point where he's fallen behind, and then he just sort of stops and he stares and he's watching as the group's going forward. And he just sits down.
Okay, I'd like to have everyone give me a wits perception roll. Holler them out when you got them.
16.
Yes.
17.
Yes.
13.
Okay.
17.
You don't have to roll that well for my sake, man.
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I'm a danger to everyone. There's no...
But you're our danger to everyone.
I got like 11.
Okay. So, Frankie and Raya, which makes sense to me since all the things that have happened within the bowl and within the cistern cave, the two of you will, about the same time, realize that Wolf has now extended back. Now, as you guys are traveling and as we get closer to the heat of the day, the temperature is already uncomfortable. Anyone looking will notice that Ray is taking on his standard red hue already in the skin. Most of
just
the rest of
always
you,
on.
once again, are getting that discoloration.
What's that red beacon on?
But should be fine. But Ray, for some reason, seems to be an absolute draw for the sun's rays. The two of you will also, as you're looking back, notice that as the distance goes out, you are not seeing mirages. You are seeing stuff. We talked about this the first couple times you guys were walking both inside of Cairo and out. There is a haze that almost looks like you could grab it or cut it, but you're not able to actually get a hold of it. There's a haze. There is a light pelting of grit, even though you never really feel a whole lot of wind. When the wind kicks up, you understand what that pelting is, but at that point, once the wind kicks up, you often are getting sand or bits of silicates and rock. But in this case, on a every moment basis, you are feeling stuff against your skin.
So the air is just disgusting.
The air is disgusting, exactly. And looking back, you will see Wolf start to slowly sink, not sink as in being
Quicksand!
pulled into the sand, but you will see him sinking back into the sand, laying down.
I got this. So I'm going to jog back
Okay?
to meet up with him.
And no one's saying anything to the rest of the group, so I'm assuming the group will continue plodding forward.
And I'll do like half pace so I can keep an eye on them
Very
and
good.
keep where we are.
Dr. Wolf, is everything okay?
Actually, Frankie, you have the billings and shoulder right now, so.
That's fine.
Why didn't you just kill me, Raya?
Because you're a human, kind of. Come on! And I hoist his arm around my shoulder and get him up.
Very good. So you're not piggybacking him.
No.
You're one-arm
Yep.
soldier crawl. Okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
And he's not going to, resist. I mean, he'll have at least enough motion that you're not dragging dead weight or anything like that, but it's still, having to keep him going.
Also my friend. And I don't call many people that.
So at this point then, Dr. Wolf, you will give me another vitality roll, but you will be adding 2 to it.
It's the power of friendship.
Okay, so that is a 14. After
Pink and blue horse.
14.
14.
I have to remember that I'm getting the -1 from the wounds since we talked about it, and melancholy adds -2 to all of my rolls. So
Yes, you're at -3 at this point.
Yeah.
And let's one other thing to just kind of put in perspective for where we're at. Going around the room, I know that Frankie is clear of wounds already.
Yep.
Everyone else, Dr. Wright, wounds.
Oh, I just have one little flesh wound on my hand.
The flesh wound. All right, so that is clearing.
I hope it never heals.
A pox.
Curse.
here, take some of Wolf's condition. You'll have it forever.
Spritzing blood at me.
I can
Ray,
fix that for
I've
you.
still got plenty of wounds that everyone else has inflicted upon me.
Are they? They are all serious, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Okay. One across the back, one across the chest. Is that?
And one on the arm.
And the arm one is also a serious one.
Yes, everything's serious.
Very good. And the most recent serious wound is when? Prior to going to the cave?
The museum?
Yeah, the museum.
All right. So but that's what I was saying. Prior to going to the cave. Very good. Dr. Wolf, the specific injuries you have, are they all of the little small cuts, the flesh wounds, the face?
Yeah. It's basically we determined that everything, despite the fact it's clearly not healing, is basically just flesh wounds right now.
So some back in London would have considered Dr. Wolf to be an average-looking fellow as far as looks. Some possibly even stepping over into above average. At this point, there is none of your group that would mix that up anymore. With the cuts that he has, the discoloration to the cuts, the change in the condition of the skin around them, he's not quite Quasimodo, but
Shit.
God damn.
But even if he's an English 4, over here he's like a Egyptian 8.
right. He goes,
Like 9 or something.
Wow.
So-
Just keep in mind, he's also got himself like bandaged up, so he basically looks kind of like a leper right now.
Are you doing
so-
the Invisible Man thing?
Well, he's got to make sure the sand and the grit doesn't get in there.
All right. Well,
so.
that I did not realize that, but you are right. Thinking back, you did say that, but you are short bandaged or wrap bandaged?
Wrap bandage.
Wrap bandaged. So is much of your face skin showing at all then?
Not much.
All right. So you guys won't see the burn that I had mentioned earlier. That was my mistaken description. Ayden.
I still have the serious wound on my chest, and I have the light wound on my left arm.
On the hand, right?
Yeah,
That's the one where you cut it.
yeah.
And Raya?
I am not wounded at all.
Wound free. Very good. Well, you guys finish out the walk back, and because you are not carrying the beds or anything else, because you guys have a mission to go, because you're not moving in the effectively twilight, it ends up being a little bit faster getting back. Although, once you are back, all of you should be out of water. So first thing that you will do, and you will watch Bas and Ra do this, and I'm assuming everyone would follow suit.
Yeah.
They will go right to the water trough and pull water in. Now, what you guys were drinking from the cistern was cool, not by any means cold by the time you arrived.
To clarify, they're drinking out of the camel trough?
No, water trough. Water,
Okay.
no, not the camel.
I was like, alright.
Although, who knows? They might, but no. In this
Yeah,
particular
just
case, they are
dump
not.
Wolf in there face down and just let everything take its course.
Yes, drink. Drink for 4 minutes.
So at this point, they will start packing the camels, which you guys had done a good portion of. For Londoners, it's going to be interesting, not Ray, even though you were at one point an Irish living. For the Londoners, it's strange to you. Nobody has messed with tents. Nobody has messed with camels. There is only one person here, by your description of people, there's only one person here, and they would have no ability in your mind to be able to fend off anyone. Nothing's been messed with. Now, that person being the woman, being the unclean one,
Wait, you're saying there's one person in this camp?
right?
Yeah.
The entire rest of the camp went with you to the cistern.
I thought some of them got left. Oh boy.
No one got left.
No, it took everyone because there were so
That's
many
right.
beds.
Then that was it. So it's going to be interesting to you guys that nothing looks to appear to be touched at all. If any of you are concerned, you can of course look into your packs, but nothing has been rummaged, damaged, moved, anything of that sort. You do not see the unclean one the entire time you were there.
Okay.
So you load up. Bas and Ra will load up 2 additional camels, giving you a traveling party of 14 camels. You guys have 12, and they bring in the additional 2 that they are riding. They will restock supplies that they have, which is, of course, their version of SCOP. It's not actually SCOP. It's more organics, where yours is a lot of synthetically made or conglomerated stuff. They are ready within the hour. I'm assuming that the majority of you are relaxing once you've got the camels packed. They do a number of things. One is to bring the camels out of the covering that they're in. The ones that are still there, walk them around. That is the largest portion of the hour of getting ready. Bring the camels back in. They walk into the tent that you guys, and I don't remember we mentioned this, but Dr. Wright would have told them that the infected tent would need to be left open. So they go over to make sure that it is still open. One of the flaps has halfway gone back from wind. They again re-tie it open.
Whatever Frankie could do to clean up the vomit and stuff in there, he would do. In the tent where we banished Bonagal from Ray.
Gotcha. Okay.
He would have gone in there and done what he could have.
Okay, I like that. Anyone else? Anything else that you would think you would be doing here other than resting and getting ready, staying out of the sun, either in the camel tent or the eating tent?
Wolf probably hasn't moved from wherever Raya sent him down.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I would do is come over probably twice in the hour. Twice in the hour, I would probably go over to Wolf and just inquire. All right, my boy, how are you doing? And I'd like to, just check a few things, just see if there's any improvement, anything getting worse.
Well, I think the bandages helped me from most of the sun, as he pulls up some of his hand. I'm sure there's the burns on the hand, which are not going.
The hand has a pink tint to it.
It hasn't gone away.
I think we're all going to be inflicted with that. But you aren't feeling any worse, any more faint, any more not there, any delusions, anything at all?
There's a deep, heavy sigh at that, as he's just sort of staring out from this, maybe my entire career has been a delusion. Dr. Wright, I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, my boy, if it helps you at all, if you didn't have the skills that you have, if you didn't have the smarts, why, you would be of inconsequential nature to me. So, if that means anything to you, go ahead and take it for what it's worth.
These are some pep talks.
The point is, life is hard. We move on. You'll move on, and we'll go ahead and get back to whatever game we have going on and see how that plays out.
You have a game?
Oh, well, when you get to be my age, you try to make things a little more interested in your life. It's not an official game, then what would be the fun in that? The point is, my boy, let's figure out how to get you better so we can see what can come out of that little noggin of yours.
I have to actually get some actual sleep.
Yes, you are. And I don't know if it would have any effect on you now with your condition, but we each have our own little concoctions you can always try at least. Maybe in your state now, if your business is suppressed, maybe some of it will actually work on you right now. Enjoy the trip, my boy.
Frankie, on the walk back, something kind of comes to you from the discussion that you had with Dr. Wolf, where he intimated to you, probably not fully you believe in his right mind. Not that what he said was not in his right mind, but maybe he wouldn't have divulged it had he been in full control. Something comes up for you to think on the way back. You asked him how old is he. He didn't answer it in the direct question.
I did.
I was going to say, in the direct answer, his secondary answer was to tell you his age, which I believe is 34.
34.
So for you, that may still, your choice, be something that you're wondering about. Is he 34 by look or 34 by chronology? Not something that I'm going to push on anymore, but I did want to remind you from that discussion.
Yeah, thank you.
Bess, you guys, and again, we're moving around the camp, so if people are sitting, which I expect a lot of you to do, you may or may not see these, but if somebody is in the position, Bess will go talk with Cal for a few moments. Cal and Bess have a interplay which Bess runs from and grabs two. You'll see him come out with 2 ampules. One he brings over first to Ray and makes motion for you to put out your hand. And he pours a small amount of the unguent that you guys used previously for the burns. And stands there expecting, makes the motions to put on yourself.
I know.
And as you put it on, he'll stay there until he's certain that you've been able to use it or you brush him away. He will then take it to Wolf next, Wright next, and I believe that's it. The rest of you do fairly well with it. It's interesting for him because he doesn't go to you. Frankie does burn, but not like the other 3. But again, we know what happens in the evening once the burn happens.
Yeah.
It's potentially pain if you get blistered burned, but beyond that, again, think of it in terms of, for game terms, if you've got first or a second degree sunburn, you're fine. At third or fourth, where you've got bubbling skin or those stop being a flesh wound and go to a serious wound. So there'd be a different reaction to it if for some reason you stay out in a lengthy period of time. But again, you're getting burned at a level 4, and Ray are very different getting to that point.
Right.
Bess will then come up to you, Ayden, and say, "We are ready."
All right.
And I don't know what term, what it would be. I guess the closest term would be sir, so I'm going to use that. But it would be an honorific that he gives to you, and you know that is both an age honorific, which you are definitely older than both of them, but it is also a titular honorific, one giving you some positional command over him. So I'm going to use sir. He says,
I was also going to say, when they were doing stuff, I would have been trying to help them.
Okay.
Not doing anything.
Not a problem. So he will say to you, "Sir, I have brought a couple of ampules of the cream for burns from the sun, and we are ready. We have both camels packed. We have checked cinches on all of yours. My understanding is the first stop was going to be," and he just points, "the Great Pyramids."
Yes, and I think your tribe leader said there were some other points you guys had found that were interesting.
So he looks perplexed for a moment, and he walks away from you to go where Ra is, and then walk back to you, and there you can hear him talking. I didn't hear you. I wasn't told anything either. So the 2 of them come back and Bess will, "I apologize, sir. There was no specific points. We were told that you would identify places to go." He said, Akbar being in the position he was in, he did not remember all of them. I know the pyramids was our first stop.
Well, let's head there first.
Okay. So, if everyone is ready,
Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
we jump forward 7 days.
Oh.
Pyramids at Giza were a complete bust. You guys were able to find one of the entry halls into the pyramid, the ability to go down inside the pyramid. There was not much of interest in there. For Ayden, of course, any chance to see any of this stuff repetitively is wonderful to you. But you do not see anything in the glyphs that seem to follow either the cuneiform that's up there or any of the, my brain's not working.
Hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphs, yes. Or any of the hieroglyphs that seem to be in the direction that Dr. Wright is thinking. Dr. Wright, did you bring the etchings with you?
Yeah, they're in my valise.
I thought you had. So you do have a starting point, and at some point within the pyramid out of the sun, you guys were able to look at what etchings he had. I believe this is going to be the second time that you've seen them, but the first time that you've seen them as rubbings and not as drawings or recreations. I mean, the recreations are wonderful, but it is just slightly more interesting to see them as the full rubbings. Nothing here seemed to work, so the next step was to head out. You guys have 3 options. Each of them I can follow through with. One is the temple at Karnak. Temple at Karnak from where you guys are at is south. The second is Tel Alamarna, which is the city of Akhenaten. That is 402 kilometers south, so beyond the temple of Karnak. Giza itself was 15 kilometers west of Cairo. That's where you guys are at this point. And then we're in Luxor, the Valley of the Kings, is I didn't get kilometers because that's just the way I roll. 646 miles south. So everything running south, in order, the closest one would be the city of Akhenaten.
Then we should probably just go there.
Yeah.
Because they're all...
In the process of getting to the city, both Bas and Ra will tell you that they have traveled south a few times. Now, remember that for Egypt, when we are talking north and south, we as Americans tend to think of our rivers generally running south because we are on the northern half of the equator.
Right.
In the case of Egypt, one of the big things with the Nile for understanding for Westerners is the Nile runs south to north. So when we are going north of Cairo, we are going downriver towards the Mediterranean. So in this case, as we are traveling south, we are effectively going upriver.
Right.
And there are points where the river gets deep and running. There are points where it is extremely shallow and is very difficult to boat. You guys are taking camels, so it won't matter.
I'm going to ask them, where do they believe that the tomb of I is?
Well, they wouldn't know. But what research has found that Wright has is
in the Valley of Kings.
in Luxor, so the farthest south position.
Okay.
As you guys are going there, and again, they've told you that they have traveled this a few times. There were trading caravans that they were a part of. Bess will tell you he does not think Tel Al-Amarna, would be Tel Al-Amarna, is even a place that you should worry about. He says, I'm not telling you what to do and not do, but there is nothing there.
Okay.
He said, nobody even knows what was here. There are a few spaces where the local Bedouin tribes had, and he will not use the word Bedouin, he will actually use the word Asir, or Aser. I would go with Aser, is my belief. And that is what the different tribes are called. Interesting, as he talks, he'll regale you, if you're willing to listen, he'll regale you of the different tribes that he's met. Different tribes for the Bedouins have different specialities as far as the animals they use. Some herd sheep, mostly the ones in the Sahara and the Arabic deserts. I'm sorry, that's the camels are in the Sahara and the Arabic deserts. Sheep and goats near Jordan, Syria, and Iraq, and cattle in southern Arabia and the Sudan, which is actually at that time called Bagar.
Okay.
So,
And cattle are weird to us. Like back in London, is there a lot of like farm animals alive?
there are very limited, and Dr. Wright would know them because of his station more than, and Raya would actually Raya would know them for a completely different reason in India. But even here, having worked for the Greylings, she would know about cow meat, but they are rare.
It's like, is drinking milk weird to us? Like, is dairy available?
Back in
London? In London.
No.
Yeah.
Not that I have surmised. If it is, it's goat milk. But so much the biology of the goat, and it's probably true for the cow, but I didn't raise cows when I was aware enough. I did raise cows when I was young. Goats will transmit through what they eat back to a person. So as a goat eats something, for example, I was very allergic to poison oak growing up. We would feed the goats poison oak. I got some level, not a great one, but I got some greater level. When I moved to the area where poison oak was, I literally could look at it and catch it. That's the way I felt. After drinking ghost milk for about 6 months, I had a level of immunity where I at least had to touch it to get it. I didn't need to be in the vicinity of it.
That's how I am.
So one of the interesting things with goats in London is there are some people who have small goat farms. They seem to be resilient to some things, fungal, bacterial, more than other people who aren't there. But yes, cattle, very rare in London. Goats, somewhat. Camels, very rare in London. I think possibly if you guys walk the zoo, you might possibly have seen a few in the zoo, but very rare.
And the rare two-headed giraffe with its long necks.
And as far as cattle go, if Ayden spreads any of this information to you guys,
Frankie would be like, "Oh, you guys got cows? What's that like?"
If any of them information is spread, you'll know that they're fairly rare here too.
Okay.
It's not like they have buffalo herds. Cattle Bedouin tribe might have 10 or 12.
So desert stampedes of
You have
cows.
to be careful with them because occasionally they give birth to one with like steel skin, and that leads to a whole bunch of problems.
Oh, yes. The Gorgon stories. But we'll leave that for Greece.
Frankie 100% believes you, and he asked you about these Gorgon skins.
How can I use
Basically,
them?
can we wear them as armor?
It-
How difficult is it to procure this?
It's pretty hard. Their breath will turn a man to stone.
Very interested in fighting one of these.
If we find any, you can go right to it.
Okay, I'm holding you to that.
All right.
And keep in mind, Bas and Ra, if you're talking in front of them in English, will have no idea. Whereas when they're talking in Egyptian, very little chance you're going to know any of the words they're using
Unless
because
they're
it's in
cousins.
discussion.
Yeah.
So, few days out, 3 days out, and you guys are traveling mostly in the late afternoon and through the early part of the evening. You are traveling anywhere from 80 to 120 miles each day. I didn't do the conversion for kilometers,
I'll do
but
the conversion.
yeah, get us that conversion because that might be helpful. Anyway, third day, you guys come to Amarna. More importantly, what should be the location for the city.
I would like to make one small note.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did roll my melancholy, I just figured I'd make one roll, see how that goes for the week. Wolf has not been... Everyone should be in the group has been used to Wolf, like, staying up late and playing with chemicals and doing journals, like testing his skin and stuff like that. He hasn't done any of this.
Okay.
He has not done any of this. He hasn't even, opened his valise. He hasn't
He is not
touched
himself.
it. He is not himself. He is, completely withdrawn. You sit him down, he'll stay there. Maybe he'll get up and get water and maybe sit back down. But usually if there's, a tent, he doesn't leave the tent. And it's very clear he barely does anything to unpack. He doesn't touch anything. He is just, as far as you can tell, he basically just lies down and just stares up at the ceiling. Or the canvas.
Can I use my minor in psychology to see if I can tell that he's sad?
You can, but first tell me, how does 120 miles convert?
Yeah, so 120 miles?
Yeah, 120 miles
Oh, I
becomes
thought...
how many kilometers?
Okay, 120 is 193.121.
All right, so you're going to be going from 150 to 200 kilometers a day as a normal.
Mhm.
So the third day, as you start coming into the area, Bess describes to you the Aser that live here. They are generally very friendly, willing to share. If we wanted to try and find their camp, he's not certain how easy that would be, but if we wanted to find their camp, a very limited trade would get us the ability to stay within their walls. He said, on the other hand, he's not that worried. There are, our group is 12 strong. Very few people, desert raiders would be out coming after you.
I have a curiosity that I'll ask Ayden to ask. We really haven't seen animates since Cairo, and I'm curious, ask them if there are animates in the desert. Do they hide out in the sands? I would imagine that all the animates could be in Cairo. They had to have spread out.
It's like jerky.
Ray, are you close by as he's asking this? Would you imagine, let me start with Dr. Wright, would you imagine this is an evening?
Yeah, that works, yeah.
All right, so Ray would be. Ray, I'm going to let you answer that. I'm going to let you, if you want, interrupt that.
Ray, Ty doesn't know the answer to that question.
Oh, okay, I thought you were leading in with it, because, all right, so
there's occasionally you'll find groups of animates wandering around. Some, though, for some reason, they kind of get a strange sort of smartness or intelligence about them, and they burrow under the sands and wait for people to come walking by either on camel or barefoot, at which point they attack them by literally kind of exploding out of the sand at them.
Fascinating, like those spiders, the trapdoor spiders.
Frankie's got a swivel on his head now.
I've heard tales speak of places where thousands of animates lie buried under the sand just waiting for someone to walk into them.
At that, I go quiet. And I don't know if everybody else goes quiet, but I kind of look around a little bit.
Yep, Frankie is there.
Oh, well.
So Ayden, you can tell them that the best converted term for them is actually ghouls. And though you understand what Londoners know as ghouls are not the same thing, that is the best word conversion here. And once he mentions ghouls, Ray, you will know about that as well. On the number of times that you were walking with Ayden, your group has been attacked or been aware of a movement that you just didn't even approach because of it. So when you hear the term ghoul, here in Cairo, it's going to be the equivalent of animate, not the pustulant, gross creatures that live in the Undercity and eat human flesh in London.
Hey, they're okay.
Yeah, we met some.
There are friendly ones.
Yeah,
absolutely. So again, Bess will ask, as we get closer.
If we can find them, yes, I think we should.
Okay,
but let's not take too much time from.
All right.
We have a tight schedule.
Anyone with tracking as the skill on their sheet, I would like to have you make a wits perception roll. I realize that doesn't sound right, but that's what I need from you.
Oh, tracking doesn't come under survival.
No, tracking is actually tracking.
But I'm making a wit roll.
Yes, for the wits perception roll, I have for Frankie.
I got a 16.
And Raya.
14.
So, Frankie, you will be the one that will notice this. As you guys have made small circles, you will notice a difference in the distance. You'll ask Cal, or you'll ask Ayden, or you'll ask Ray, who will then ask Bess. He says, yes, sir, that should be their camp. Do we wish to try and make it there?
Well, no, before we go, do we need to worry about... I mean, they've been kind of tumultuous meetings. At best.
How far away are we from our next destination?
Well, Bess will tell you that if you wish to take at least some time in Amarna, we are in the environments. This area is that area.
Do we really need to go do it? Do we need anything?
They might have some more detailed understanding of this area as well. They might.
The Bedouins might. Yes.
Yeah.
So, going back through notes for any of you, do you remember why you were going to Amarna? Did you have any more information other than that was one of the places? And again, I'm using the term Amarna because that is the descriptive area that we currently use. But the reality is it would just be the city of Akhenaten.
We were just looking for this. Oh, wait. Is that the pictographs that Grayling found?
Yes.
Showing if I remember right, it was like a sunlight upon the animates, and there was some kind of almost allusion to healing.
So stepping way back into finding that, what Grayling hit, and if I remember correctly, that was you, and was Raya there?
Yes.
Was anyone else?
Not that I remember.
Because Raya was there trying to get the house person to get Grayling to eat.
And I had to, I think, put him out to go to sleep.
Right. So what he had found amongst his research, and again, that research took up his entire study and was strewn, would be the right word about his study. But what he had found is he had found a trail of hieroglyphs showing somebody holding what appeared to be a sun and people moving away from it. And in that position, looking at the people, they all appeared to be hunkered down, possibly being animals. He immediately took that as the answer, but your guess, listening to the staff of his, you know that he had been up for nearly 3 straight days. But you can see why he thinks that from those pictures. So that was one of the reasons come to Amarna. What he had, that information suggested this city of Akhenaten. And storyline back, Ayden would be able to tell you some of this. Grayling had some of this.
And I imagine that when he was telling me this, it wouldn't be as detailed as the drawings that he had, but I imagine that I have like a little journal that has the etchings in it and also notes or rough sketches from the...
I'm giving you this because I would assume that anything that was pertinent, I mean, he would have rambled for as long as you let him. Yeah. His obsession in this is at a 3, and 5 you lose control of yourself. So fairly high up. But I would assume anything where he says, now this is going to be this, or this is going to get you to here, you would have written something down.
Yeah, in doctor writing, so only I or Dr. Wolf could understand it. But
so between Ayden and Bess, okay.
How about Cal or anyone else?
No, all right. So again, going back, Ayden and Bess know about this and will give you some information on it.
So we think the etchings are from this location?
You think the etchings talk about this location.
Oh.
You actually, and this was not, and when you're saying etchings, this was not
Rubbings.
yeah, a bit more rubbing.
This was not rubbings. These were actual pictures, or these were photographs, and you're not certain where he got them. But it talked about the city of Akhenaten. So the story that he has, a story that Ayden will know more than Bess. Ayden will know some of the history of it, and a portion of this is now being set up and brought into the Egyptian Museum, the Natural History Museum in Egypt.
If that's the one in Cairo, it's probably not there anymore.
18th dynasty. We have Akhenaten, who was, and I apologize, I didn't remember all of this today, but he was Tutmosis son of Tutmosis III. I think it was Tutmosis IV. I apologize if I'm screwing that up, but he takes the name Akhenaten. He takes the name Son of the One, or the One of the Sun. It was a sun worship. More importantly, it was the first monotheistic religion, and the Egyptians are not monotheists. In fact, the temples made their money. Ayden can tell you a little bit about the Temple of Karnak that you're going to, but that giant temple complex made its money for upkeep and to pay everyone there because there was worship of so many gods. Many people would come and pay homage to numerous gods rather than coming to one. Akhenaten decides he's going to move the city from Thebes out into this area that we call Amarna today, and he was going to build a city there. The negative side, in reality, just to put it there, it was built in a swamp. And that's why we have almost nothing of it today, so little of it. Also, a number of the people in the future dynasty, or in the future of that dynasty, tried to remove him completely from it. King Tut, our King Tut, is almost assuredly Akhenaten's son.
Yes.
No, I'm saying that there is still conjecture, but today we believe he is almost assuredly that. King Tut maintained the city for a very short time and then moved the capital back. Most people think the reason that he moved it back was to appease everyone else around. There is a reasonable chance that Akhenaten was murdered. Again, money talks. So you have this worship of the sun. You have this odd situation where, for historically no good reason other than he was going to be somewhere where the temples weren't, he moved the city. So that's what you are looking for. And one of the things the Greyling had said was, look for this orb, because he's thinking it's an orb. Now, Ayden, if you want to give me is it history? It is. If you want to give me a history.
I have mythology too.
Look, it's an orb.
Which is higher.
Do you have theology?
Doctor.
Not specifically theology.
All right, I'm going to have you roll history.
I have history.
It's Ayden.
I know, I probably wouldn't have.
Give me the history roll.
Make it real high, though.
Your character is extremely intelligent and reasonably intuitive.
And maybe I had an Egyptian phase.
And there's a secondary reason.
No, I did not have the Egyptian phase.
Didn't go to any unwrappings.
No.
I got 19.
Okay.
I snorted some mummy dust once, though.
So with a 19, one of the things that will start connecting to you, Ayden, is this description also could be the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay.
From Christian mythos.
Okay.
So I don't know if you mentioned that to anyone else. The drawings that you're looking at don't in any way look like an ark. It is being held, and it is sending out waves, or what appear to be waves of force. That's your connective piece.
Okay.
I don't know how much, Ayden, you're going to have to tell me now, because I'll take it, I'll run with it, whatever you tell me. How much does Ayden go to historical conspiracy theory as opposed to just the facts. I'm not saying are you into the alien, the ancient aliens thing, but if pieces seem to fit, will you make connections where quote unquote nothing's been proven?
So Ayden believes that there's kind of a truth, and most of history, recorded history, is like parts of truth based on the person's perception there. So if he found a lot of compelling evidence, he might make a leap like that. Okay. But like the whole arc being, or the idea of the arc and the thing being similar, that would be probably something he would view, especially if it was around the same time when like these the Jews were fleeing Egypt or something, or going to war because they carried that in front of them.
So going around the table, I don't know specifically that you would know this. With a couple of them you will. But going around the table, Dr. Wolf would be Anglican if he follows a religion. Mm-hmm. Ray is Catholic, we know that. Frankie is Catholic, we know that. Dr. Wright would be Anglican if he follows a religion. And Raya would potentially follow a religion out of India if she followed it. If she came into a household, which you should have for your mourners, she would be aware of Anglican.
I also have theology.
But I'm saying you would be aware of Anglican. So
yes.
For you, Ayden, as far as talking about potential theories, but listening to things and the talk as you guys are going places, some of the things you might think about are, you have the first monotheistic religion in Egypt long before Christ. Long before Christ comes. But this is the first monotheistic stepping out of a polytheistic. Within that religion, you have the term son of the god. Ra is the god. Ra is the son.
Right.
There's take it where you will if you want to play with that furthering into the game. Jesus could be a future, and boy, I'm not blaspheming here, I'm throwing out for completely fictional fantasy gaming purposes, there may be a connection.
Okay.
So, as you guys are moving towards this Bedouin camp that Frankie has seen the light of, Bess will say,
Did we decide we're going?
I thought you did.
I thought we were still debating it.
This is another Bedouin's camp, right?
This is the Bedouin camp where Bess said...
No decision was made.
I think, perhaps they would know something more, so it may be worth going. I think
they might have information that might be valuable. What do you think, Ayden?
I think any time you can talk to locals, it's good for finding things. They usually have a better knowledge of the area.
You know what might be a good idea? They might not like everybody coming at once.
So you want me to head there?
No, actually, what I was thinking is, because I was thinking Cal and Marut are so swift on their feet, they could take Bas or Ra, one of them, run up there real quickly, see if they're friendly, and then come on back.
Alright, why don't you, everybody just hang out here, and me and the other two, actually, Ra, why don't you stay here? Me and Bess will go up there and see.
Okay, so it is Ayden and Bess leaving ahead.
Right.
On the ride in, Bess will ask, "Sir, do you have something to offer?"
We have this leper. You do with him as you...
Remember, I do have that really old maul that nobody really references anymore. Or no, not a maul, a mace. That was it.
Do you want to keep your mace?
No one's asked for it, and I haven't found a good reason to get rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
And also, we bring it out, the two that are with us might get a little pissy. I won't hesitate anymore with these Bedouins. I've been shot.
You had it coming.
Yeah, I got something.
Okay. He says, very good. So as you ride closer, he hollers out the greeting, and you are no longer fast riding, you are slow walking into the camp. He hollers out the greeting. Two people will come out from the lit portion. As you realize as you get closer, the lit portion is two small fires. Two men will come out and interplay with you. Yes? There's just kind of a surprised look.
Hello, I am Ayden Samir Carter, and this is my trusted guide, Bess.
Bess bows.
We were wondering if we could speak with your storytellers or ones knowledgeable of the area. We are looking for something. And I have brought this as a gift, and I will put down a bottle of wine there.
You will hand him a bottle of wine or set it on the ground?
Well, I'll set it on the ground.
Okay, well, he will look at it. He will look at the other one with him. What is it?
It is wine.
So he will pick it up. Is it sealed with wax or corked?
It's sealed with wax.
Sealed with wax. So he looks at it. He looks at Bess. Bess nods, and he says, "One moment." And he walks back into camp. The other one just kind of stands there. And in my head, I envision the girl from Ipanema playing.
I'll make small talk with him.
Okay.
I'll ask him how long they've made camp here.
In this location, they've been here for almost 13 weeks.
Have they seen any adamants nearby? Or
The
any
ghouls, yes.
Yes.
There are 2 spots, and he points in the general direction. They lost 1 person to one of the groupings, but they seem to be small clutches, and they were able to, in one case, clear them completely out, and in the other case, could not follow them into the earth.
And then I will ask them if they've explored any of the ruins or found anything of note recently.
So he says, I have not. He said, I don't know if others would. I don't know what term he would use, but basically he explains to you that he takes care of the camp. It's not really the term guards the camp, it is more of a keeper of the camp. At which point the other person will come back and he says, the 2 of you are welcome to come in. We can take your camels.
All right.
And the 2 of you go in. Best says, "Sir, were we not to bring everyone?"
No, we are going to get the feel of the situation.
Okay. So, similar to what happened with Akbar, you guys are brought in. You are introduced to the leader of at least the family here, which is Jabril.
Mm-hmm.
He will bring you in, thank you for the gift of wine, pour you a similar thing to what you guys had at Akbar's camp, a fermented milk, which Bess will gladly drink. There are small plates of fungus, mushrooms, that have been cooked in some kind of a spice. As you sit down and eat and talk, we don't necessarily need to role play through it,
right.
But what would you ask him? And there are a number of other people in here, men and women.
I would kind of try to get a feel, like if they would be interested in having other people here. What's the current news, the current events kind of thing.
There's not much in the way of current events. He will tell you that something happened about a week and a half ago, and they still can't explain it. From the sky, black orbs landed upon the land. But within 2 days, they had melted back into the sand, but he does not understand what that was. They also saw a fire in the sky over the Caliph's home.
Right. I will tell them I was there and kind of give them a bit of what happened and
that,
stuff.
As you tell, he will say, one moment, and people zip out of the tent, and you're guessing everybody is back in from the tent. Some sitting, the majority standing, children especially standing, and seem to be enraptured with you. In this particular camp, there are 19 people.
I will...
For the rest of you in the desert, it has been a good 20 minutes. They have not come back. I don't know if there is a time point at which you guys would do it something.
The next morning, I feel like.
At 2 hours, Frankie's getting itchy.
2 hours? All right, very good.
But using my history, I'm going to kind of give them a just general overview of recent events and stuff like that, and outside.
In Cairo?
Yeah.
Somewhere else as well?
In Cairo, and just I'll tell them about their balloon. I won't necessarily say who it is, but people came on a sky ship and
truly. And I mean, you have everybody leaning in, and no matter how good of a storyteller, this group is pretty well enraptured with listening to you. And you can see the little ones look like they want to ask questions or being held in check. So when you get to talking about the hail there, he will say, we believe it is Barat. Now, Barat is the plague of hail, which would suggest that we are in troubled times again. The leader will tell you. Jabril will tell you.
I was thinking similar. I have friends who have made camp far from here, but
far?
Well, they didn't want to be rude and just show up on your doorstep. They are here looking for items which could have a tie to the Barat. and other things. Is there anyone among your tribe who could be a guide for us to show us areas here?
So Jabril will ask you. You are saying they are shaman, wise men?
Of a sort. They come from far across the sea, from a place called England.
You'll hear England. Right. move through, but he does not seem to know what that is.
It is an island in the ocean. A very beautiful place, from all I have heard.
A land of milk and honey.
Yeah, exactly. A land of milk and honey.
Oh no.
So one is a doctor. Two of them are mercenaries. One is my trusted friend, and one of them is a poor soul we found on the road that we're taking care of.
How
leper.
How reductive but accurate.
But they have come here seeking, investigating a mystery of a symbol, and I'll draw what I saw on that stone. I figure I got photographs or like a relief.
Sure, as best you can.
Yeah, and so I'll draw like the circle and the waves coming off of it.
So Jabril will look at it and shake his head, and he will call out a couple other people to come up and look. One of the ones who comes up and looks nods his head. And I'll interrupt that to say this. When I started earlier, I had said we're passing 7 days. Apparently, I'm not passing 7 days. We're passing 3 days to get to this point. So we are in the evening of the third day.
We have plenty of time.
No, when you said
got
7
plenty of
days,
time.
Yes.
yeah, I was worried. I was like, oh shit.
How are we going to make it all the way down there and back to that airship in
We're
time?
making good time.
Yeah, I need to watch that video.
Oh, you're well doing good.
Yeah.
As far as time. So the one will say, I have seen this before. And Jabril will say, my son has seen it. Where? And he will tell you he believes he could take you back to it, one of the tears. Tear, as you ask, as you would, is a part where the sand pulls apart, sinks in, and they are able to go into stuff. A lot of times the tears don't last for any length of time. They either get filled in or disappear. But he says we could bring you. He asks your people how many?
There are 12.
No, there's
14
10.
total.
There's 14 camels, there's 12 people.
Oh, okay.
There's 10 left out.
Oh, yeah. I always forget all the NPCs. So there's 12 of us and 14 camels.
And totally. We, of course, would not want you to sleep out in the land in the cold. Yes, bring your people in.
All right.
By the way, it's not cold. I just realized something. It's day. You're traveling in day. No, you're traveling in evening. No, I did it right. All right.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's starting to get. If it's not
I'm
already starting to
reconnecting, yes.
sunset, we are.
First,
like
the
twilight.
right.
Yeah.
The first day you traveled in day. After that, you guys have been traveling evening. So I have done it right. So he says, yes, the cold is coming on. And he says, bring your people in. And he claps his hand twice, points at two of the women who come forward, and he tells them, make the tent ready, and they leave. Okay. And he says, please, I will send my man with you.
All right.
And so you get up. Bess looks at you.
Why don't you stay here, Bess?
He nods his head and takes another
Poor
drink
Bess.
from
Never
the
see him again.
fermented water milk. All right. And you guys head back. The group comes in. Similar to what happened with Akbar's group, the camels are all taken care of and set aside. Quite a few of the people either helping with the camels or coming out of the tent as people go in will come and look at Billings saddle. Marvel at it, look around, especially the children. One of the men asked Billings, which he can't answer, will ask, would it be okay for the children to step up in it? It's an amazing build. And Billings looks around for someone sees you, Ayden, and puts his hand pointing to you, at which point they'll ask that same question.
And I'll ask him if they'd be okay.
Yes, of course, yes.
So,
And he'll stay out there where the majority of you go into this tent. Now, as you guys come into the tent, it's already getting cold outside. As you come into the tent, it is warm and it is muggy because the tent has many more people than would normally be in here. So, do we take anything other than the two valises and the cane? Does anyone take anything else off of the camels? Actually, let me say it a different way. Does anyone else remove anything else from their camel that they did not have going into Akbar's tent?
Nope.
No.
Frankie?
I'm deciding.
Yep. Okay.
Grab the mall. Just let's have another
The mall.
I
situation.
don't have the
The
Mall's
mall's already gone. The
Yeah,
Warhammer
mine
Mall
made.
is already gone.
But I feel like bringing a giant axe into this place is not the best sign. Would Frankie care? No, he's bringing it. Okay.
All right. So he's not removing it from his back,
No.
which is where it was for the entire travel.
Yes.
All right. So as you guys come in, there's room made at effectively the low table, but eventually they stop trying and everyone is just sitting down effectively on the ground. Some of you will be around the table, some will not. Billings endeavors with Mei Ling to get to a table space, and anything that comes around in food, the fungus and those, he will try. Unless any of you are different than this, and same situation as last time, Marud will not touch the plate of food the first time it goes around, nor the second time. It does not make it around a third time, so you guys will all note the Marud does not eat. Everybody else can take from it. Billings will take a little. Nobody scrapes the plate.
Okay.
Everybody takes
Wolf
a
basically
small amount.
just takes. Basically, he's just like, even like, when the fermented milk is there, it's just one sip and passes like barely anything, and he's just basically more picking at like bare minimum amount. He's barely eating.
Since there are children there, and they seem to have been like kind of lacking stories, I'm going to introduce Raya. Sorry, and I'll basically say this is Raya. She is what they call a mourner. The appropriate term would be, and I forget the one.
Whaler here.
Whaler.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll look at you, and in English I'll say, can you do like a kata or a twirl of your blades or something?
And then you immediately move people back because everybody's
Right.
sitting on top of each other.
Right.
Okay. And a couple of the women you will see as you guys look around, anyone that's looking at the crowd will get very excited as soon as she's introduced as a whaler. And so go ahead and give me... I want you to really do your unarmed combat where you would normally use that, or melee weapon that you would normally use that, but do you have acting?
No, I don't.
All right, so go ahead and give me just the melee weapon.
Okay. 19.
So with a 19, it is impressive to where you get oohs and ahs. The children, a number of times, the ones that are not out in the billings, and they do eventually come back in, will clap. Very excited. How long of a show in minutes do you think you would go?
Maybe just 1 or 2 minutes.
Very good. So just through one simple
If
move.
there's
Yeah.
like a cantaloupe or something nearby, I might throw it at her.
I don't know that there would be anything
Or like
that
a
here.
mushroom or something.
A very
Mushroom.
all right, hey, one
That
of
would
the
be
cooked
cool.
mushroom.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be pretty
Go
good.
ahead and give me an unarmed attack on that very small mushroom.
Have I seen Marud eat meat?
Yes, at the last camp. What you noticed last time, Marud allowed the food plate to go past him 2 times. Once it came to him a 3rd time, he stripped the plate completely and ate everything that was on it.
But this time there was no third
There was
go
no
around.
3rd time.
25. I'd like to slice it twice.
Yes.
Yes.
So everyone just holds their breath, and then as you lean over and pick it up in 3 pieces, uproarious laughter and clapping, excitement. There is just a jubilant feeling in here. Something that I don't think any of you have really felt from anyone. I mean, it's even in Egypt, in Cairo, other than that first night and that dinner, I don't think it's been fun at any point. Dr. Wolf, with this much going around, I'm going to have you make another roll for the melancholy and see if this breaks it. You will get a +1 from this. I know you have minuses to add, but this feeling will give you a +1.
Not enough.
Not enough.
So here's where it is. This is where Wolf's mindset is when it comes to this. The laughter's happening. There's the camaraderie. There's everything here. And Wolf is just staring at all this. He's looking at this around. He feels the bandages. He feels the crunch of the flesh on his skin. The only thing that this is serving as a reminder at this point is how far he's becoming detached
from everything
around him. How much more of the monster that he's been trying so hard. He hasn't even taken his medicine since,
And I'm assuming he has not taken off the bandages.
No, he's not. No, he's just still pecking at his food, and he's not engaging with anyone. If people talk to him, he might say a thing or two, but otherwise he is completely just in his head.
How long have we been here for so far?
How long has the remainder of the group been inside sitting?
How long have we been
inside sitting? About a half an hour.
Okay. Since I'm scanning around, looking around, and I've been keeping an eye on Dr. Wolf. Now seems as good a time as any I've eaten. Ray, would you sit near me?
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna lean over to Ray and I'm gonna say, Ray, my boy, I need your help. We need to go see the shamaness here. Might be able to take care of some of your business, but really, and I'll point across the way to Wolf and say, we need to figure out something with him. And I'm curious if one of these magic folk they have might be able to tell us something.
All due respect, but doesn't something in your bag help cure that?
Well, something in my bag can help, but it takes time. Why waste that time when we might have a bit of a quicker idea? And it might not work, we might not learn anything, but I can tell you, they can heal quite a lot. And I'll just kind of wiggle my hand at you.
Yeah, I noticed. All right.
So,
I'll go drag him out of his seat.
I'll take care of Wolf. What I need you to do is ask and see where this person is. So you go ask somebody, I'm sure anybody will be able to tell you, and I'll go over to Wolf.
Okay. So there's a pile of Bedouins around.
There are. You're currently sitting. Do you stand up to go speak to one, or do you just lean over to the closest one next to you? What do you envision you do? Mm-hmm. Talking and I'm going to call it entertainment and all of that is going on present.
I'd literally just lean over and just ask if they have a shamaness or / unclean one here.
Go ahead and give me an etiquette roll, which I don't think you have. So in that case, I'm going to have you give me a charm roll.
What are those things?
Etiquette, do you have?
No, I don't.
All right, give me a charm roll.
That's actually not horrible.
Yeah, pretty good.
15.
15. So he looks at you and he says, I don't understand why you would need... And he leans back from you and he knocks the person behind him. He says, Masuda, look. And Masuda looks and Masuda stands up and he says, everyone, look who is here. It is Ray. And you have a number of the men, none of the women, none of the children, but a number of the men look over and say, what? And at this point, Jabril, who is currently focused on the entertainment that's just finishing, looks over and he says, what? What is this? Why would you interrupt? And Masuda, the one that he spoke to, gets up, runs over to Jabril, speaks in his ear, and he says, truly, is it true?
Yes.
You are the unbeaten one?
If I can, I'm gonna sell him up. I'll do a little spiel on
Go ahead, do it. He's just asked Ray a question, and you're going to interrupt Ray to say,
he has fought many fights, and he has been in many contests versus beasts and animals in Cairo.
Oh, you don't need to roll anything. I want you to sell it for me, not roll it for me.
Oh, okay. I once saw him take on 6 guys at once and just level them like the fist of Allah. Just one blow and knocking them out.
Truly. And now you can see the kids, not the women, but the kids are kind of leaning in and heads on their hands looking at you. Yes, tell us more.
Yeah.
Please. And Jabril is trying to get you to stand up.
I kind of shake my head, but I do stand up and I'll
when you stand up and do the flex, it's odd. For all of you there, maybe Wolf doesn't notice it, but for all of you there, they suddenly realize that he's as tall as he is. You have men from the sitting position looking up. My God. And a few of the men will actually stand up, go over to him, and seems to you've seen this before, there's a reverence to it, but they look up and they nod their heads and they will step away from you. It all seems to be very respectful and, for them, awe-inspiring.
I have heard wise men claim that he is of the line of Hercules with his strength and stamina.
And you hear a low clap around the table.
Couldn't go more Celtic with that one, could you?
And from where he hails is a land of no sun and constant clouds, and every day he endures the heat of our sun, barely breaking a sweat. And I'll sell it up like WrestleMania. Once in a cage match, he fell 22 feet to the floor and still survived.
They said the Undertaker was unbeatable, but they didn't read.
And Ray, you have a stage name, right? Or did you have a stage moniker?
I do have a stage name.
Okay.
It's One Shot. No, it's Free Shot. It's
Free
Free
Shot.
Shot. That's what it is.
Free shot.
Oh,
So, a couple of the men will be saying in Egyptian, it is free shot. And now, if any of you are listening to the people around
If
you,
I had melancholy, I'd be rolling.
the men will talk about, almost all of them, so anyone who's near one will talk about, in times, how much he's made or lost because of him. The ones who talk about, if you happen to listen to one who's talking about a little bit about having lost money, they all say the same thing. It was still an incredible fight. So you had asked one of them about, the first one, about getting the shamaness. As you look around and realize, we got way off track. What happened with that? You look and he is not there anymore. Okay? So, Ayden, are you done talking him up?
Well, after I'm done talking up, and it seems like that's going, I was going to introduce Frankie as the monster slayer of London.
Ray, do you stay standing as he switches the focus off of you?
I'll just kind of politely wave, and then just kind of
do your crowd thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is a very tight ring in here.
Autographs are available outside, $4 a piece. But yeah, I'll say how Frankie is known for killing creatures, and I'll describe them like these things known as vampires who drain the blood. And they turn into bats and
the
fly
children, of
through
course,
the light.
squeal and pull away.
And the horrid thropes men that can turn into beasts and snap people like mere timber. And talk about her exploits and how she's his exploits, and kind of do like a Penny Dreadful with it, like, she once fought Jack the Ripper, this horrible like serial killer who stalked the streets. Yeah, we'll kind of sell him up, and then.
So in that case, this one, do you have acting? If not, give me your charm roll.
Okay, charm will work.
This is just a side note, but at some point, once I realized that Marud had not eaten anything, Frankie would, without asking or even really looking at him, he would dump half his plate onto Marud.
Well, as they go around, I would think you would have eaten. It's going around and people are eating as it goes around. If you think you might do it on the second one and give him some,
yeah, that's what I mean.
He will look at it, give you one nod, and begin eating. He's not gobbling it all.
I got 10.
Okay, so again, there's the oohs and ahs that you saw everyone react, and Jabril says, and then this one, and points to Dr. Wright.
Oh man,
what great thing you travel with and their term for circus. You travel with such a great circus. What does this one do? He looks frail, but really he must be something.
So I'm gonna look like I just bite my tongue like I'm about to say something, and I'll say. He is a peerless surgeon from London. He is so gifted, like he has restored missing limbs and like legs to people, and he has performed magical surgeries that others would not dare.
I don't speak the language, but I know when I'm being complimented.
Right? So here's the thing. As he's talking, he doesn't seem to be focused. As you're watching him talk and you realize it's you're kind of like, well, I've seen the two of them kind of. So you kind of start to gussy up, and as you look around, you notice that pretty much all the women are kind of downcast and looking at you in an odd way. A few of the children are doing that as well. And the men that were sitting near you are trying not to make it obvious that they are moving away from you. At which point, Ayden, you're going to eventually realize this and do what?
Probably like
Jabril, as you look at him, their leader, he looks uncomfortable.
Well, I'll wrap it up kind of quick, and then when I get a second, I can talk to Jabril. I'll say, I apologize if my friend's profession offended you or your tribe.
He says it's not his profession. He is a shaman then. I did not even know that men could be unclean.
pretty
I
good.
I can understand the confusion. He is not like a shaman in any way.
But you said he has the power to replace limbs, to
Yes.
regrow. Most people attribute these abilities to the unclean ones. It has not happened.
And that is true, but from the island of England, they practice a thing called science. And science has taught them how to make the night sky bright as day and how to move about without need of animals and stuff like that.
You can see Jabril is now moving towards like, all right, now you're pulling my leg. He says, we know of science. We have seen the land the Caliph owns.
Well, then he would be considered a science, a doctor.
So he says to everyone around, he says he's a scientist, not a an unclean one is what he would use. I don't know what the actual word is, and I probably should find that out. So we'll find out. Hopefully next week I will have the Egyptian word for unclean one.
And then Frankie can know it.
He says in the group, he says, no, he is a scientist. He does these things as if by magic, but it is not. And you can see everyone kind of calm. There's a little bit of brightness comes back to the room.
My apologies. I did not mean to confuse you.
Yes.
If there's any way I can make up for it.
And he looks around, and he does not seem to react to Mei-Ling or Billings. And you can see, as you're done, he looks at Marud, and again, doesn't seem to react. And then he looks at Cal, and he says, and that one. And Cal says, in Egyptian says, I strictly walk with this group. I am support. He nods his head. While this is going on in the talk, Ray, the first one that came out, has wormed his way back in, and he says to you, the unclean one will see you.
Right? Looks like we've got an appointment.
Ayden?
When he looks at Billings, I'm going to say, that gentleman there is interested in the various peoples of this region. He is the one who, I'll just make it simple, he was the one who brought the airship here. And he is looking at making friends with tribes so people can learn about your culture and learn about your customs and traditions and trade. I was getting to trade, you put the last thing last, He would love to talk to you about possible arrangement, and it would be very beneficial for you.
And he looks right at Billings and says, in Egyptian, wonderful. What type of trade would you like? And Billings looks, because he realizes he's being addressed, but doesn't know, Ayden?
I'll tell him what he said.
Okay, he says, oh, well, yes. And Jabril is confused. He says he does not speak our language?
He is trying to learn it, but he is having quite some difficulty.
Okay, so we would need a translator.
Yes.
You.
I'm more
Or
than
him,
willing to
pointing
do
at
it.
Cal.
Or Cal, if you wish.
Very good. Well, I think we should continue this. So, Ray and Dr. Wright.
So good, Ray, good, excellent. Let me go get Dr. Wright, or Dr. Wolf.
You're Dr. Wright.
Yes, I know.
I'll get myself, thank you.
So I'll stand up and I'll say, go ahead and you can head outside. I'll grab Dr. Wolf.
Alrighty.
And so I'll walk over to Dr. Wolf. Do you even pay attention that I'm coming over to you?
Not really,
Our
no.
little leopard.
He's just there. He's picking at whatever mushroom is in front of him, and it just has
He's
been
got the soul.
and just stuck in his own head. And it's like every day he wakes up, and every day he's just thinking over his condition and everything like that. And rather than like there's no new ideas. There's no new thoughts or anything about what's going on with him. And it's just the fact that he's hit this wall is just driving him further into this depression. Frankie's words about, yeah, maybe you are actually a monster. And even the little bits of encouragement that Frankie said even after that or anything is just gone. It's just spiral.
You hear weird music in the background. Sounds like Linkin Park.
Why is my skin crawling on its own?
Okay, so yeah, I just come over and I'll stand next to you for a moment. And as I see you're not paying attention, I'm just gonna lay a hand on your shoulder. Dr. Wolf.
Dr. Wright.
Go ahead. Come on, boy. Stand up. Let's get out of here. We have to go meet somebody that might be able to help with this little situation.
I don't really see how.
Well, there are wondrous things in this desert that I have witnessed. And you know what? It might not do anything, but it's better than just sitting here. Let's get you some air.
You're just taking out these shamanesses one by one.
Pretty soon, every single Bedouin encampment is like, we've lost all of them because they've had to solve everyone else's mess.
And I'm in the center, unlimited power.
Right. I mean, if you like pull him up, right, Wolf will go, but
I'll squeeze your shoulder, and if you don't stand up, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a little bit of a time.
Yeah, and so Wolf will get up and go along.
All right,
Guys,
come on, my boy.
I think we have a problem. We need to get him a 12-step shaman program.
I can quit when I want.
There's a shaman who could fix that. That's the problem.
Back in London, it's like, well, back when I was in Egypt, every single problem we had was solved by these unclean ones. I don't understand why everyone was afraid of them. Honestly, they were very pleasant.
Yeah, so I'll head outside with Dr. Wolf and meet up with Ray and the Bedouin and head towards the so-called unclean one.
Okay, so you guys will walk, the three of you, back in the main tent. It starts to pick back up as they realize what you meant there. And people eat. Well, actually, they wouldn't be eating anymore. People will talk. At one point, music is brought in. I don't know that anyone else would necessarily leave the tent, other than the three of you plus the one. So the man as you're going over tells you that his name is Cephas, and he will bring you to the tent. Now, in this case, you guys are used to it being kind of in the environs. You go down a hill, at the bottom of the hill, where it is perceptibly colder than it already is up here. You come to the tent there. He says to you, I will go in. Give me a moment. And he's looking at you. No, Ray asked. He's going to be looking at you. All right, good. And so he will head in. A few moments later, he will come back out, and he says, who wishes to go in? Who should she see? And what do you want of her?
Well, our friend here has been a little worse for wear lately. I'll need to go in with him because he doesn't speak Egyptian.
Okay. He says, very good. I will tell her that. One moment. So he heads in. A few moments later, he comes out and he says, you may go in. And he pulls the tent flap aside.
And unless you told me, I would just start following you guys in. Because...
And he will put his hand. And he says, only the two. You'll hear that as he says to you.
It's fine. We got this.
All right. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Go ahead and be well. Oh, if he starts screaming, that's normal. It's
screaming is starting to be normal for everyone around here.
As you travel with us more, you'll find that's true.
I mean, half the group has night terrors.
I think the entire group has night terrors.
So, Wright, are you going to wait there?
Yeah, I'll wait out here, but I'm going to be trying to listen as best I can.
Very good.
I don't know if
all right. And the two of you guys step in.
Mm-hmm.
So unlike the description of the other two, which were fairly nice interiors, inside here has a smell. Ray, you will not have it with the gas mask you have. You will not have it in extreme. But Dr. Wolf, you will be able to smell it here. It's just human dirt, not feces or anything like that. It's just unclean human, unwashed human.
Mm-hmm.
As you come in, the woman, you can hear in the back, there is only one light. It's guttural at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sure what she's using, but what it's burning out is a black smoke, and there is a haze in the air.
Mm-hmm.
And you can hear her speak and eventually can focus on where she's at. And she's speaking in Egyptian, of course. She's, yes, what do you need?
Greetings. My name is Ray Callahan, and this is my friend Everett Wolf. Doctor. My friend here became very ill recently, as you can see from the bandages around his face. We understand that you have some ability to potentially to help him beyond what can be done through the normal methods.
I'm sorry. What do you ask?
Do you have any way of healing him.
Healing. Let me see.
Wolf, now to take off your bandages.
Wolf sighs and he reaches up and even with the haze, I think now, like especially when he's pulling him off, the 6-fingered hands are possibly at this point visible. So
Okay.
if there's anything with that he's.
Do you unwrap?
Yeah, he is unwrapping slowly, and he takes them off, and he just sits there. He is just not anything. He doesn't think at this point. It's like he can't figure it out. Whatever it is, he might as well be a walking corpse at this point.
Okay, so you unwrap everything from your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she comes over. As she comes into the light, you notice that she is old. Maybe 60, 70. Hard life out here. Ray, did you see any of the others? You saw one of them, right?
I saw the one
sisters?
that the one that dealt with Barnacle. That's the one that I've seen.
The first one from Akbar's camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that one was actually younger and in fairly good condition. You didn't see the two sisters, so you wouldn't have any base for it, but she looks very old. You don't get the feeling she is reasonably emaciated. She has liver spots already, the little dots. The skin is sallow. There is nothing that makes you think she should be standing up as she walks over. She gets close, and as she gets close to him, you can see that her eyes are in terrible shape as well. Not just the ability to look, meaning she's got bad vision, but the actual condition of her eyes. They are sunken. They are not an even form. You're not certain. And Dr. Wolf, if you are looking at her, if it even connects to you, you are not certain she can even see. It's not cataracts, but the eyes are in such sunken and terrible condition, the actual orbs. So she looks at you, she puts her hands on you. Those hands feel as leathery as you think your skin feels. She runs her hands across you, runs her hands through your hair. Ray, I don't know if you have any, what would it be called? Superstitions. Are you superstitious?
Well, I was kind of thinking about kind of Ray's story a little bit as far as like the quote-unquote supernatural and such. I feel like when he first took off from losing his family, he went to people that like said they had powers and he tried to get some answers, but he felt like he was getting conned a lot.
Yes.
So he has lost the vast majority of his belief in anything supernatural. However, the last 2 weeks, week and a half, however long we've been here, has opened to his eyes a little bit. So he's very much like in a state of like curiosity as to like, I saw Dr. Wright healed. I've seen thropes for the first time. Like there's so much like Ray has literally had his mind blown like every day, it feels like at this point. So he's kind of in the state of just like curiosity.
So I'm going to assume then that you wouldn't be disgusted, you would be more curious. She hasn't done anything horrifying at all. So as she starts running her hands over him, you've taken the bandages off, you took the stitches out.
Yep.
So she will peel back the skin. She won't tear it back. She will peel back as far as it will go. She will run her fingers through it. Oh, it gets worse. At one point, she will lean in.
Wolf's kind of used this at least.
One point, Ray, she will lean in and touch her tongue to the opening in his head, the gash in his head. Come back, and then spit. So obviously she's not doing something weird like eating it. She'll spit. She steps back.
That would be the weird thing.
She steps back, and she asks, was he burned?
No. He's been bandaged in the sun this whole time.
Does he burn?
Yes.
From the sun?
No. But only because Ray doesn't know.
Okay. She says, from fire.
Well, doesn't everyone burn from fire?
She looks directly at you, and you feel like even though those orbs in her head are not in good condition, they have zeroed in on you. She says, no.
Well then, I mean, we didn't use fire on him, so
I hope that was said out loud.
Unless you said it in English.
I said it in English.
All right, so you heard him. We haven't used fire on him.
Oh my god.
Ray, what is Ray? What is?
Eliminate out my
Did I
nose.
hear that?
Yeah. Ray.
Oh, no, you whispered it.
Yeah, Wolf finally gets at least some measure of things. What is she asking, Ray?
She wants to know if you burn.
Yes, but until recently I've healed from it.
I say that.
What do you say? Tell me.
He says yes, he burns, but until recently he used to heal from it.
So, are you wearing a collared shirt?
I'm wearing the loose robes because, you know,
Very
have to
good.
dress to fit.
So she comes over.
Mhm.
She starts taking the robes off of your chest.
And she can take whatever other bandages
Yep,
that are
yep.
on there.
If you don't stop her, she will take the
I will
robes
let
off
her-
your shoulder,
I will let her
drop
do
them to your waist,
Mhm.
and she will start probing you
Mhm.
with her finger.
You're welcome.
She says, "He does not speak. Yes?
He does not speak Egyptian. Yes.
Yes. Tell him I will try."
She's going to try to heal you.
And she will take the cover off of the lamp. She is going to stick a stick into the oil, bring it up. As she brings it up, it's burning. She will come over to you, and
It's
she
my
will
turn.
set the burning stick at your chest. Do you flinch before she gets there?
Well, let's see if I keep myself from flinching, because
I'm just picturing no.
I managed to keep that concentration. So Wolf grits his teeth for this and tries to focus so that what he knows is coming won't let anything out.
All right. So she sticks this to his chest. The oil drips from the stick onto his chest, and his chest has fire where the oil is spanning. She takes the stick away all the time, just watching. You doing anything? It's burning. Okay. Your vitality.
My vitality is 4.
Very good. So you will see it's starting to burn. You can now smell hair and some skin burning. The oil has gotten to the distance it's going to go. It continues to burn. She has not taken her eyes off him. Go ahead and give me what would be normally a composure roll to convert to throw.
Sorry, I actually have to do the math here.
Very good.
So,
No, Jill, we don't want to throw.
Throw.
What if he turns into a beetle?
A beetle?
unfortunately, I haven't been taking my medicine the last
No,
3
you
days
have not.
because
You
I've
said
been
that.
very depressed. So,
That was a good Chekhov's medicine, by the way, earlier.
so my save is 13. I made exactly a 13.
Very
Does
good.
that mean I've succeeded?
Right
or no?
now, you
Okay.
have succeeded.
Okay.
Okay. Are you still staying with where you're at?
Doing my best to. What do
Okay.
you want?
I'm like shaking over where I'm sitting, by the
Do
way.
I hear him, like...
Yes. You're hearing noises.
I'll just kind of, like, speak and... Don't worry, it'll feel good in the end.
So now it's actually burning and crisping flesh. You can hear the crackling of it. You can see the darkening of the skin where he's at. She has stopped looking at you, and looked at you for that moment, is unwavering watching it. She'll put her finger at the bottom of where the flame is, take the oil off with her finger, and quickly put it to the ground where it goes out. It's still burning. She's just not letting it get bigger.
You want me to do another
I
one?
want a composure roll. This time you're going to be subtracting. Yeah, making it worse. You're going to make it worse by 4.
Oh.
So -6 to this, and I definitely failed that.
All right. So
Son of a gun.
Yeah.
you in your mind know
Mhm.
that you should turn.
Right.
This would be the point at which you would lose it. You feel that. You feel everything go through your body that way. You can hear that.
Oh,
I
son
don't
of
know
a-
that you've heard him convert
Is
before.
that other guy out there?
Yeah, he's standing right there with you.
I feel like I would have at least read enough to know how throats turn, and so he's right near me.
Yep.
I'm gonna. Actually, is he watching me?
No, he's just standing there.
Okay, I'm just gonna casually, kind of like as quietly as I can, cock back the hammer of my gun.
Okay.
Be like, don't worry, lad, you're fine. Stay cool.
So
I stand up.
he looks to you, Ray. He looks inhuman. the flickering light, the changes in his visage, but there's no change to him. She looks for just a moment after the highest point of his scream and slaps her hand onto the burning flesh area, at which point the fire goes out. She looks at you.
Does my throat save go up by 1?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
She looks at you, Dr. Wolf. Grabs.
I think he vomits at this point
Okay.
because he's been holding a lot of pain in, and even with the adrenaline and everything going through it.
Grabs something from the ground that by the time it gets up to you, you realize it is a cloth and hands it to you and points at your chest. Or puts it in your hand and pushes it to his chest.
I'm just putting
Ray,
it
as
like
it
that.
comes through the light, you can see it's a dirty rag.
Mm-hmm.
She looks at
I'm not
you,
even thinking about
right?
it. I'm just...
She looks at you, Ray, and she says, "He cannot be healed."
Damn.
Back in the tent. So the festivities have comfortably built up. You have everyone kind of excited and happy again. You will hear a number of people talking back and forth, Ayden. You'll hear a number of the people talking about Free Shot, discussing, when will he fight again? We should go in. We know him now. We should go in. We should talk with him before. And there's talk of food, which there's no new food being brought out. The other ones you've seen drink brought out. There is no additional drink brought out, but everyone seems to be happy and comfortable.
Perhaps we could do a little expedition fight. Exhibition fight. Do you have someone in your tribe who is a good boxer?
So Jabril looks at you and says, "No one of ours could take him on. No, possibly, no. I don't think so."
Not maybe 2 or 3.
He says, "I don't know that they're." So then he steps up and he looks to his crowd and he says, "My men, would anyone like to take a battle against Free Shot?" And very quickly the talk kind of stops. And they all look up at him and he says, "Any 2? Any 3? Any 4? He smiles, nods his head. He says, "His legend has made it this far. No one wishes."
You will be very happy to hear that.
You guys will hear the noises from the camels. You've heard noises before, but it's usually a grunt, a snort, a couple of stamps, and usually it's barely in the wind because they are not right next to the tent. But this is a cacophony, and one of the men who is sitting close to you, Frankie, will look, get up and head out of the tent, and he runs back in. He says, "They attack!" And there.
Finally!
Finally! I was about to ask, do I sense vomiting?
What does an upset camel sound like, Barry?
It's that kind of it's kind of a honking sound. It is correct.
Wait, that's okay.
I'm upset.
Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.